You've sold a load of stuff. Yeah. You have to handle the procurement. Yeah. Nobody started an MSP because they wanted to live in PSAs and distributor portals. But it's possible that's kind of the life you've ended up living. At Salesbuildr, we want you to spend your time selling, talking to customers. So we've automated all of that happens once the customer signs off on your beautiful proposal. How does it work? Glad you asked. Without Salesbuildr, once a proposal is approved, you would normally create a post-sale ticket in Autotask, a purchase order in Autotask, log into your distributor portal, find all the items on the quote, add them to the basket, place the order with the distributor, manually update the ticket in Autotask, manually update the PO in With Salesbuildr, when your quote's signed off, there is only the button of pending. Guys, is there nothing else I can show here? What about creating the ticket charges, the purchase order, the order with the disty? Updating the ticket afterwards. Nothing? All behind the scenes? I guess that's that. One button. Stop dreading the manual grind and start enjoying sales again with Salesbuildr. Start a free trial via our website or get in touch if you'd like us to show you around. Hey, it's that time again. We're back. It's our monthly product update. It feels like probably 5 minutes ago that we did the last one, but welcome along. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you've probably got a very busy day, so any time you give us, it's much appreciated, and we'll fill it with value. We're here for about half an hour, so wherever you are around the world, hopefully it's well worth the investment of your time. So I'll be joined by some colleagues who I'll introduce in a moment, but the format for this is essentially we give you what's new, not only in the product, and there's lots of that to come, so make sure you stay tuned, but also just a quick taster of some of the content that we've been producing that you might find interesting, and also give you some top tips in the form of Bram's top tips later on. So plenty to get going with. Let me introduce the team. How are you doing, guys?
Doing well, thank you.
Here's the motley crew. So we've got Victor Raesson, top right. I didn't get the name label sorted. So yeah, CEO, Martijn van der Schaaf, COO, and Bram Farfana, who is our customer success lead. Everyone's energized. This is good. This is good. Everyone's ready to go. All right. Listen, we'll hear some more from you. We'll hear some more from you later with some more. How's this month gone though? Before I disappear into what's new in the content side of things. Victor, I'll come to you. You're always good for a soundbite.
Yeah, how did this month go? How should I answer that question? Well, it just started. It's November 7th now. It's my son's birthday today, so I'm gonna hop off in 10 minutes. But it has been a great month so far. We're building all kinds of new stuff that's really valuable. Martijn will dive into that later. And we have been lucky to onboard lots of new customers, and we're in the process of getting them all, make them feel at home and happy.
That's good,
and that's fun to do. And the other thing that happened this month is that we now are active in Australia and New Zealand, and we also signed up a new colleague that's based in Sydney, Gary Henderson. I'm also very happy about that. So we're approaching like a 24/7 operation.
I love it. I love it. So you stole my thunder there on the Australian announcement. So that's fine. Let's do that now. Sorry, then that's cool. So that's fine. It's better coming from you anyway. So we've got currency in the region. So we support local currencies. We've got local cloud infrastructure. We have boots on the ground, and so, as you mentioned, in the form of Gary. And yeah, we're ready to go. And the customers have started coming in. So we're really looking forward to it. We've seen some organic interest, haven't we? I mean, without really focusing on the region, it's kind of that the demand is just there. So we're really, really pleased to be welcoming on the Aussie guys who are going to always be watching this on the recorded version.
There you go. Yeah, really excited to roll that out in that region and find the right customers for Salesbuildr and get them to a next level.
Definitely. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with that one, and I look forward to spearheading the lead into the region and doing whatever events there are in that direction. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Right, I'll come back to you guys, but I'm going to quickly cover watching this are going to be thinking, okay, that sounds marvelous.
Yep.
In reality, I've got at my disposal.
Yep.
I have, I guess, Copilots are probably the first technology.
Absolutely. So I think that what everyone is hoping for, what all MSPs are hoping for, is that Copilot is the kind of the golden goose.
Yes.
This is it.
Yes.
Great.
Just sell Copilot.
Microsoft have saved our lives.
Yes.
We just go and sell a load of licenses. We make a nice margin.
Yeah.
And that's it. Set and forget, what all MSPs love, right? But actually, I don't think that's going to be the case, unfortunately.
Right. Okay.
Because what happens is you're going to sell Copilot, and then what's going to happen is your clients are going to say to you, well, that's great. How do we use it? So they're going to expect you to train them on it. So maybe there's an opportunity.
In some cases, they're asking for it, aren't they? It's the client saying, I've heard about this new technology.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. For those of you who mentioned that the microphone wasn't working in that scene, so hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me well now. But yeah, so that was Jamie. I sat down with him for an interview. He's a AI and automation specialist who was an MSP and is now really. He's got an interesting take on the AI side of things, particularly the more the sort of practical examples around how to apply it, because there's a lot of sort of high-level stuff that you hear about events and things, and he really gives you some practical scenarios and some sort of bit of a reality check on it as well. The other one is Bradley Monday, who is he's the founder of Uptime. I sat down with him. He has basically an interesting take on the space, in that he's seeing a new breed of MSPs, as he calls it. So they are companies who perhaps really focus on sales and marketing specifically. So really high growth companies who perhaps are going to go again. Maybe they've sort of exited and they want to run once more, but then outsourcing, not just support, but perhaps the finance side of things. So basically using a fully outsourced team, all bar the guys in the center. And I think it was a really interesting chat. I definitely recommend you checking this one out, because it's an interesting structure. Even if you don't go for it, fully, it's something you can be inspired by, I hope.
So a new breed of MSP for us is, so we're seeing salespeople coming through that previously couldn't necessarily run an MSP because they'd have to manage a tech team. That was always their Achilles heel, was managing the techs.
And that's normally the reverse. It's normally the reverse that we see, isn't it, right, in our industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing, a traditional, let's start with a traditional MSP. A traditional MSP is a tech-led MSP, quite often fell into running a business. And this is something I relate to massively, because that's how we started. I was a tech, almost accidentally started running a business. And tends to be, to broad brush, sales and marketing tends to be the problem, whereas running and managing techs and delivering tech, that's the safe space, that's where we enjoy being. And this new breed of MSP tends to be more sales focused.
I'll let you watch the video to check that one out. And finally, we have Pete Matheson, who is a really well-known content creator and an ex-MSP owner, talking about the benefits of how he grew his business using this approach of looking for basically gaps in your customer base. So understanding the white space. Obviously, we've got a bit of a vested interest in this one because we have a white space module, but he wasn't even aware of that when we had the conversation, but he talked about that here.
Your existing clients was just coming up like with building a product matrix out with our clients. We did it in Brightgauge at the time because we were all like a ConnectWise house. So we had a dashboard, basically, all of our clients listed down the left, all the different product categories we sold across the top, and we just have green ticks with the clients which services they signed up to. So we could quite easily look at a client and go, okay, they haven't bought a lease line from us, they haven't bought cybersecurity, whatever it might be, and we know quite easily when we're speaking to that client what to pitch them, or when they're due for renewals, well actually maybe they have a contract with somebody else, with a third party.
There you go. So there's a nice little, hopefully, a sampler anyway as to the kind of content you can find on the channel. Right, I suspect you're here for the juicy stuff, so you want to know what's new in the product. So let's do that. Let's head back to the team. So Victor and Martijn. Martijn, you're a great person to kick us off. What should we talk about? What's new in the product? What's happened in the last 4 weeks?
Lots of stuff. Lots of exciting stuff. So first to kick off, we mentioned this in the previous. One second. We mentioned this in the previous episode as upcoming, which is the page numbers in quotes. This was a specific customer request with a total of 25 votes. So we delivered that in the week after the previous episode. And another one was a customer asked with 14 votes, which takes care of moving line items on one quote and allows you to move those into contracts in All the Tasks and ConnectWise.
And that's really cool, isn't it? Because one of the things we wanted to point out here really was, although those are relatively small items, the fact is this is stuff that's come from the wish list. So we're really responsive to, if you get a query and you need something, let us know.
Yeah, and it's also well, they're not particularly small items. There were a lot of work, but it's part of our efforts to not only build what we think should be done, but also listen carefully to customers and take the feedback along, and also want to let you guys know that something actually happens with it. On the other side, we have a bunch of updates on the UX side mainly, which I can demonstrate a little bit. This is about the quote editor, which got a few updates. I'm not sure. Are you sharing my screen right now, Jay?
I will definitely do that for you now. So this is quite a major change, isn't it, to the usability? It's something we're pretty keen to shout about. So let's have a look. Yeah, you're sharing now.
Yeah, so what we did is we moved all the widget to the left side of the page, a little bit like the layout and style that people are used to. And this allows you to, easily drag and drop the order of widgets in your quote, easily remove widgets, and also easily add them by clicking the plus, and then you can simply select one of the widgets in your library. So that's one. So it's way more intuitive and easy to use, easy to add new stuff. Another addition is that previously when you scrolled down in a quote, you had the summary. So the summary of the entire quote, and we had a bunch of settings there. And this was sort of a fixed item inside a quote. And we turned that into a widget. So from this release, when let's say that you want to have your intro in your quote, and then you want to immediately kick off with a pricing summary, you can just add a widget, click financial summary, and you can add a financial overview directly after your intro. But what we also did is we introduced a new way to present this summary, which is the summary table. Let me remove this one, which shows you a nice breakdown of quantity, product, of course, one-time fee, and monthly or quarterly, annually, whatever. You can also combine multiple recurrence intervals into the same overview, which gives a really nice presentation of what you're offering in a breakdown way. So instead of relying on the individual line items in the quote, you can simply refer to this as a total summary. And a third one, which is just released, and you can already see a sneak peek of this here, is that we added multi-currency support into Salesbuildr. So you can see that the base currency that we're working in is euro, but we're presenting in British pounds, and this is a real-time currency calculation based on a database that we get from a EU government source. And this will allow you to quote in multiple different currencies. You can also set a currency or currency preference on the customer level, which makes sure that you always offer quotes and items in the right currency without thinking about it. So far for this part. Multi-currency is added for the premium subscription, so it's a premium feature. And today supports up to eight different currencies. Mm-hmm. Another thing we added is support for line of businesses from ConnectWise and Task. So this was also a request we got quite often from customers that use the line of business function, let's say inside Task. What you see sometimes is that MSPs acquire other MSPs, and one tactic to integrate that acquired company operations into the existing Task instance is by adding them as a line of business, which is sort of a second company entity in Task or ConnectWise.
I see. Right. Okay. Yeah, I was hoping you were going to explain that one to me because I didn't get it the first time. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So today, what you can do with line of business is either just use it as a vehicle to say, okay, I want to sell my managed services from this business entity, and I want to sell my hardware and hosting from another business entity, or whatever combination. And you can also link that to salespeople. So you can say this group of people can only sell items and products from this line of business or that line of business. So you have multiple ways to configure that. So inside Salesbuildr, it's nice if you can actually select the line of business for who you're selling. So right now, when you create an opportunity, I don't have any lines of business assigned to me. So for me, there are no options here. But when I select Bart, for instance, I get a new option here, which is line of business, and then I can select it. And then this means that this line of business called software development will be the main line of business for this entire quote to cash process. So also when the quote gets accepted and we create all the items in AutoTask or ConnectWise, they will be assigned to the correct line of business.
Is that the main implication then? So it's like the segregation on the AutoTask side rather than it really affecting much more here?
Yes, yeah. Inside Salesbuildr, there's basically no difference in the flow or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's really about the way this whole process is treated in your PSA, and making sure that billing of those items is done in the correct way on the right business entity with the right, VAT numbers, invoice background, whatever you have configured there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, yes, confirm. Other updates, which are more, not really related to a screen share, is the release of our public API. So from the release the Tuesday, we officially have a public API which supports basically all the major operations that you want to have, including the option to generate a public API key in your tenant, of course, and some documentation released where you can easily find how you can integrate whatever you want to integrate into Salesbuildr.
That's really exciting. It makes us a really flexible platform, doesn't it? I mean, whether it's other PSA or more custom PSAs, because there's quite a few MSPs. I mean, we often think, everyone's using like ConnectWise, AutoTask, or Halo, or whatever. But there's people with other PSAs out there, other systems that really to be able to plug in fully featured API is powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe even some batch operations that you want to do. We are still in the process of adding a few more endpoints. So there's also going to be one that allows you to download the actual PDF files of quotes through the API. Okay. And another one that allows you to bulk import products. So in the case that you want to integrate with some third-party system that we don't support and it contains your product base, you can easily use that endpoint to initially push your entire product and services catalog into Salesbuildr. Also to make it easy to do such an integration, because if we don't, if you don't add that bulk endpoint, it means you have to do it one by one, which is, technically it's not difficult, but it's just more work. So try to make it easy. That's the message, basically.
Are there any other things, Martijn? I mean, you're pretty well versed in this space. Are there any other things, other areas you think the API might really come in handy for MSPs based on what they're sort of doing? Is there any, I mean, that's pretty massive already, but I just wondered if there's any other sort of use cases that people take advantage of.
Well, basically also like companies that build their own internal systems or that want to somehow incorporate existing opportunities into some customer-facing platform that they're using, and they don't want to leverage Salesbuildr. There's so much that you can do.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do, and I think there's a new age that's coming upon us with AI agents and AI code assistants that you can now just feed that API URL, and that will figure out what it can do with it. You can talk to it in natural language, and then you can interface between existing systems or just make a page to do status updates. There's all things you can do. I think it's interesting, especially the MSPs that have in-house developers that want to automate more in the back end or downstream processes. They can do that now.
yeah, that especially the AI use case, that's really interesting, isn't it? If you can query information and start making sort of, your own sort of logic or decisions, providing information on
Yeah, I mean,
steps
we
and
have a very
opportunities.
technical audience. There's a platform called it's called Replit, REPLIT, and that's a hosting provider, meaning they give you the infrastructure, they give you the VM, they give you the storage, they give you the security layer, and on top of it, they made an AI agent, so you can talk to it and say, I want you to do a Python-based application that checks in if I have any approved quotes. And if you give it the API of Salesbuildr, it can talk to it and it can work with that, which is exciting. I mean, you don't have to ask permission from us. You can just start building that stuff if you want.
Yeah, I had a quick look at that Replit application. That's something. If you haven't seen that already, you need to check that out. That is unbelievable. If you combine it with the voice activation, you basically just speak at it and you make apps, that's blown my mind.
Exciting.
In an age when my mind seems to be blown every day by the AI developments. But anyway,
Crazy times.
yes, Martijn. So we got to that, the API stage.
Yeah, there's more. So one exciting release is the HubSpot integration. So we had a sort of 0.5 version of that out for a while, a few weeks, and now we've released a full version. It basically allows you to sync data between HubSpot and Salesbuildr, stuff like company owner contacts, opportunity contacts. It adds a quote link to the opportunity notes in HubSpot. It adds the signed PDF to the opportunity in HubSpot. It synchronizes the opportunity probability, and it does bidirectional updates for your base data like contacts, company information, and that kind of stuff. So it really allows you to basically extend the quote to cash process all the way up to the initial marketing campaign or whatever outreach you had, or the first contact you ever had with that customer, then the whole cycle up to the sale, and maybe the entire customer life cycle gets extended with this integration. So really excited about that.
Yeah, it's great to see. So where are we up to with that? Is there much more that we need to do on that? Because it feels like all the elements in terms of synchronization are there. Are there any other parts that we're still working on? I can hear Victor's keyboard there. You multitasking, Victor.
You mean for HubSpot specifically, or
yeah? I just wonder, is there anything else on the list there in terms of what's left to do in the HubSpot integration that people might be looking for? Because it sounds like it's there now.
Yeah, it's pretty complete. There's a full list of all the operations and synchronizations in the release notes. You can check it out. We don't have anything on the radar that we know we still need to cover. Of course, when customers get back to us with additional requests, we will pick that up. But I think it's pretty complete, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also, the version that we pushed out now is also based on the feedback that we already got from the sort of 0.5 version that we already had for a while. And we worked actively with customers to test that and make sure it's complete. So, yeah, the one we have now is really handling all the stuff that you would like.
Documentation is really good as well, isn't it? Documentation is excellent on that. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, actually, we use HubSpot, we really better get that connected. There's fantastic documentation, but obviously, of course, we're here to help as well. So you can always just give us a shout via the little intercom chat button on our within the application and on our site.
Yeah, and you can actually already let me see. Yeah, I don't have the HubSpot integration right now, but can you quickly share my screen again?
Yeah.
So you see here that we have the links like title, customer contact, all the links about this quote to all the tasks. But now we also have the little HubSpot icon, which shows that it's also synchronized with HubSpot. So I think it's a really cool addition. And any MSP that's thinking about leveraging HubSpot for their marketing, I think this is an additional reason to start doing it, because it's a really powerful tool.
And I think we've covered this before, but it is worth mentioning as well that I think a lot of MSPs will look at this and go, hang on a minute, where does the overlap sit? And I think you need to think about HubSpot as being like the first layer, that sort of, if you've got you want to be generating interest from a pool of data. You want to be doing sort of whether it's like email blasts or marketing automation or lead scoring, all that kind of thing. Once you get to the point where it's an opportunity, that's when you're thinking, okay, that's where Salesbuildr will come in. So it's that next step. A lot of MSPs that we work with don't have something like HubSpot currently. So that it literally is that you're using Salesbuildr. You've got a sort of basic CRM in there at the moment. So that is sufficient as well. But if you want to take that step further, or you're already using HubSpot, then of course it's a total no-brainer.
And we already had a few customers that were using HubSpot on top of all the tasks, for instance, and leverage that integration. So it really makes sense to us for us to integrate as well. Look, for the last 4 weeks, these are basically the highlights of the new releases. Little bit of sneak preview of what's coming. One is full multi-language support, which means that the entire application, the quotes, the email templates, storefront, basically entire Salesbuildr becomes multilingual, and you can actually also translate your quotes on the fly.
Wow, how is that done, Martijn? You got to tell me about that. How's that? Because
I'm going to show you when it's ready. But we got a little demo today already, and it's really cool. So
right,
it's really
amazing.
Really,
that's going to be very useful indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is basically, sort of stuff that we're doing wrapping up the year. Another one is expansion of the purchase order and vendor support. So we're adding additional vendors. We're working on adding additional options for existing vendors like cloud marketplaces. And we're also going to work on more refinement of the white space module. So building additional filters, additional features based on customer feedback, making that a more mature module to bring more value.
I hope if you're, that sounds amazing. I hope if you're watching this, you know what the white space module is by now, or we've been failing badly. But I know that can happen if you're busy. So we have there's basically a sales analysis tool and insights analysis, which gives you a view of your live, fed from your PSA, live data of your service penetration and your customers. So it's a grid essentially, and then you can produce quotes from there. You can see which customers are using which products and where the gaps are, and that can feed a QBR, or you can just push the quote out straight away if you want to. So that's really popular, and great to hear that there's more development coming on that front.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the point is that the biggest chances of increasing revenue for MSPs is still within the existing customer base. It's really hard to get new managed services customers. So finding those upsell opportunities is key. And to be honest, in the majority of PSAs, it's quite difficult to do that. It requires manual lookups, etc., and we just make this really easy. And also helping like the salespeople, if you need to close or fill a gap in achieving your target, you can just filter the biggest opportunities in a little bit of time.
By revenue, by profit, by customer, whatever. It's pretty powerful now, isn't it?
Or even based on the most profitable service. If you're if you want to sell the most profitable instead of the most revenue, you can all do that, or a combination of that, of course.
Good stuff. So we're definitely going to keep on building that. So Martijn, thank you. It's been absolutely loads in there. So I think you and the team should be pretty proud of that, and particularly I love all the usability stuff, like the new editor. I think that's really cool, and the pricing table, that's super clean. So yeah, really good to see that. Wonderful. Right. Well, listen, is there anything else you want to add, Martijn, before I let you go?
No, I think this is it for now. We're going to continue working hard, so we have some more exciting stuff in the next release or the next episode. Thank you for having me.
It's relentless. I mean, that's the only reason you do this, really, isn't it? It's just to get through this half an hour with something to say. That's why we're
exactly
working hard.
I just need to make sure that we deliver enough that's worth mentioning, because otherwise it will be a boring episode, right?
LinkedIn Live, that's what it's all about. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the overview. Cheers. We're going to head into, the section you've all been waiting for. This is Bram's Top Tips.
Great.
Never gets old, does it, James? Oh, I don't hear you.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I love that jingle. I brought it back. I've resurrected it. We didn't use it for a while, and now we're on a new platform. I thought I was coming back. It's too good. But anyway, Bram, listen. This is your chance to shine. What have you got to tell us in terms of what you've seen when working with customers on the front line? And you've been working with a lot of late. There's been a lot going on, hasn't there? New onboardings, new feature introductions, you name it.
Yeah,
so,
been quite a few new onboardings, which is a good sign, of course, right? I think the tip that I want to share today also has to do with one of the things while I was onboarding customers that I saw that everyone kind of struggles with. And I also sometimes when I call with customers that have been with us for a longer amount of time, I see that they still, or maybe again, struggle with this. So I see it as one of those things that you kind of need to, look at every now and then.
Needs an evergreen reminder.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
It has to do with like the end of the year is coming up, and I see that is also one of those things where a lot of people relook their what they do, what they sell, what their strategy is when it comes to selling things. And along with that comes making sure that your product catalog of the things you actually sell is a little bit up to date. Could you maybe put my screen forward as well?
Certainly. There you go.
I'm going to show a couple of things because with Salesbuildr, it's pretty easy to actually clean your product catalog up a bit. And I want to just quickly share a little bit of how you can clean it up, as in get rid of all the legacy stuff that you've built up over time, but also how to then refill that at a certain point, right? I'm going to start off with the cleaning up. So if I go to products, there's a lot of filters that we have on the left side here. And if I go through these filters, I can get a lot of data from here. First of all, I will check out everything that is a bundle. I'm going to ignore the bundles. I'm going to ignore the services and the bundles for now. I'm going to focus on the products I meant. Reason that I'm ignoring the other ones is, for instance, services. They would typically come out of your PSA and are usually updated from your PSA. The products, of course, Salesbuildr is where those really shine. So if I'm going to look at products, there's a few things that will catch my eye. First of all, this one, the part number. Usually what I see with customers that I onboard is that there's quite a lot of products without a part number. Now, we heavily rely on part numbers because that is where we take in the price from your distributors. We find them based off of those part numbers, and a lot of extra info is also brought in from that part number. So usually what I see when I filter on part numbers, I see a couple of things that are actually supposed to be services, or things that, just somebody typed in server or something like that, but nothing really that updates the price. So usually that's an indicator of stuff that can kind of go. We offer being able to bulk edit that and set it up inactive. It will also be inactivated in your PSA after that. So that could help you quite a bit with the cleanup part. Now, the other thing that I also always see, if I now select everything that does have a part number, some information from your distributors. So as you can see, we've got unavailable and we've got not found. The last one is important there because unavailable is just simply something that your distributors do not have in stock at that moment. But the not found means that they don't offer that anymore. They don't have it in their product list or anything like that. That means it's probably end of life, and you can also get rid of it. Last thing there is the not quoted since. So I can, for instance, say, okay, I want everything that hasn't been quoted in this year. And then I see that's quite a big list of stuff that I haven't quoted this year. Now, realistically speaking, am I going to be selling this next year? Or if I haven't sold it for an entire year, can I safely assume that we can also get rid of that? You hear that I'm saying getting rid of it. I mean, not unlisting it. So even if you are a little bit rough and get rid of hundreds of products at the same time, that's not a big problem at all. If you ever make a mistake and want to get something back, you just look at everything that is unlisted and you simply bring that back. Now, I went over this pretty quickly. We've got entire documentation that is set up about what things we kind of recommend cleaning up in here. So at any given moment, just search in our documentation about review your portfolio, and you should be able to find some documentation on that with those filters. Now, the last thing that I want to mention on this is to be able to fill that back up again. So if everything is correct, all of your products on this list, your category list, will probably be a little bit less at this point. Now, we might want to fill those back up again if you re-switch some of your priorities in terms of what you sell. So in order to fill this back up, you can, of course, take things from the marketplace and import them back into your product catalog. But you can also do that automatically. So as an example, I, for instance, will now go to the distributor of TD Synnex, and I will look at their category structure. And for instance, I am going to look for computers, and let me see, I'll go for notebooks. And I will select Dell. Let's say I sell a lot of different Dell laptops, and I want to be able to make sure that these Dell laptops, anytime there's a new product in here, automatically gets sent to our product database. What I can do is I can say, okay, I've applied these filters, and maybe I want to define it a little bit more, saying I really only care about the ones with an i7 processor. And I can say import all results, select the category that I want these laptops to go into. Oh, I'm selecting HP. Let me actually select Dell instead. And then check the box, import future products. And now every time that it checks one of these boxes, a new product gets created and put into that category. Now, what I recommend is to just relook at your strategy every now and then, clean up your products every now and then, and see if you maybe have more products to add to your catalog every now and then. That is not a thing that you need to do like every day, but it is something that I recommend like doing periodically. The end of the year is usually a very good moment to look at something like that. So yeah, that's that.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much. And our theme is always, isn't it? It's always kind of let's try and streamline as much as possible. And maybe it's worth mentioning why is that so important that we keep that decluttered?
So there's a couple of things, right? First of all, I'm a big fan of like a kind of like an empty desk policy because it just gives you some sort of like mental clarity as well, right? But also the moment that you're going to add a product to a quote, and let's say you want to quote, an HP laptop to a quote. The moment you type in HP laptop, you want to be able to find the results of the things you want to sell quickly. You don't want to scroll through about 1,000 different products before you find out what it is that you want to sell to your customer.
And I suppose the other thing is well, there's a couple other things, isn't there? There's if you want to create quality content around these particular products, if you've got a smaller product set, you can put a little bit more time into making sure that the content that gets dragged into the quote, which is what you can do. You can have standard snippets for different products and even the actual product attached to that, so the pricing goes in as well. But that's streamlined. But also, obviously, there's a knock-on effect for the rest of the business in terms of knowing what you're selling and what you're working with and how the warranties work and whatever the specs might be, how they're best suited to a particular type of customer with different needs and all that stuff. So yeah, the holy grail is getting that down as much as possible. So that's a really good tip. And that definitely looking at the old products, that's brilliant. That view of, okay, what have I not sold? It's like I have constant conversations with my wife. It's like, we haven't used what's in that loft for 2 years now. I think it warrants maybe we should consider talking about getting rid of it. And it's kind of the same thing, isn't it, really, if you put a date in there.
I know exactly what you mean. I have those constant discussions at home as well. So yeah, maybe this was just a little bit of a vent as well at the same time.
Seems to always happen with our sessions, doesn't it? I think we just need the therapy. Perhaps this is the remote working life. I don't know.
This is our therapy. Yeah.
Brilliant. Listen, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Again, you're going to be. Oh, actually, you are back you'll be back for our next edition, won't you? Although, when's that going to fall? That's going to be quite an awkward. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, beginning of December, so it'll be okay. But you're back. You're going on holiday for a couple of weeks, right?
Yes, I am. Absolutely. Gonna trade the grey weather outside in for some sunshine.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, cool. Well, listen, you have a good time. We'll see you when you get back. If anyone's got any questions, you're welcome to get them in now, by the way. If you've got any questions about anything you would like to see, I will just check. I actually have to check my phone because it doesn't pull through into this software. So I'll just have a quick look to make sure there's no questions coming in. Bram, your knowledge is deep, so we can maybe pull on that if you've got any questions about the software. Put you on the spot, maybe. It's the joys of being a presenter. You don't have that necessarily. So, okay, cool. All right, well, it's not like we've got any questions coming in. So, listen, until the next time, I'll see you, and we'll just finish that off with a thank you for watching. Appreciate your time. It's worth a lot to us, whether you're watching it live or on the recording, wherever you are around the world. And we'll see you similar sort of time next month. Take care.